Hello and welcome to the Bird's Eye View. I'm Harcase, and this is, of course,
War Duck, come over
we.
here.
And yeah, we're going to catch you up on all the new updates going on with the Gabby case and everything that's happening with that. So yeah.
Right. So yeah. So they found her body,
Mhm.
and the autopsy did confirm it was murder. The
Yeah.
full autopsy they haven't released yet, so we don't know like
Mm.
the actual method of death. So
Indeed. Yeah.
that's like, and they may not tell us too. They may keep that to themselves. That way, you know. So investigations often don't tell you everything because if somebody were to come, just say some wacko in prison or whatever decides to come
Mm.
forward and say that he did it, right?
Yeah.
They'll ask like, okay, well, explain to us how you killed her. And
Mhm.
then they'll be like, yeah, well, that doesn't match up. So, you know.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely to keep the investigation proper, they can't release everything,
Yeah, so
or else it
so
could ruin the case.
right. So they may not tell us until like we may not know until much later. Now,
Mm.
the thing is everybody knows that Brian killed her. It's there's really no other there's really no other 99% chance that he didn't kill her, right? There's
Yeah.
that's just not a thing because of he was the last to see her. He skipped town. Like everything says every circumstantial piece of evidence that we currently possess right now says that he's guilty. But it
Mhm.
is technically all circumstantial evidence at this point.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And so so the police go to his house and lo and behold he's gone,
Mhm.
right? And the neighbors say that so this is where it's a little bit conflicting, and I'm not really exactly sure um because some of the so the problem is you have neighbors talking to people and then people talking to reporters and then reporters saying this is what somebody said. So it's the telephone
Mm.
game, right?
Yeah.
And so either A, the camper that they have is brand new that they just got,
Mm.
which is what I heard one reporter say. Or B, it's they had it for a little while, and then as soon as Brian got home, they loaded it up on the truck and they went camping.
Oh, okay.
So either way, they
Yeah.
took the camper off of the property. I think it's theirs that they had owned it. It wasn't something that they specifically just all of a sudden bought. But the reports are a little wishy-washy on that. But
Oh,
you
right. Okay.
have Brian returning home with Gabby's van without Gabby.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden the parents are like, hey, we have this tiny camper that fits on the back of our truck. Why don't we all three just go camping?
Mm.
And then they left for a few days. Then they come back and Brian supposedly was in the house and then decided, hey, I need to go out to the reserve and take a hike.
Hmm.
Uh and then all of a sudden he's just nowhere to be found. The FBI shows up and they have this story about him taking the Mustang out there and they left a note for him and then they went back and checked and he hadn't got the note, so they brought the car back. And that's all. To me, that is all bullshit. He hasn't been
Yeah.
home since he originally got home. He originally got home, they called a lawyer, they lawyered up, they packed up the camper, and then they help him escape.
Yeah. Definitely.
He's not out in that wilderness. He's not out there. He's not.
No.
He's just not. That's just it. So okay. Here's the thing: is think about this another way, right? Is you committed a crime,
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, you're going to decide to go on the run because I don't know why murder doesn't have statutes of limitations and you haven't been tried yet. So you are just going to go out in the wilderness and just live out in the wilderness?
Yeah.
That makes zero sense, right?
That's a bit of a bold move, to be honest. Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
and what's the purpose? What would be the purpose at all of you going out into the wilderness? Right? Like,
yeah.
For what? That's going to be your life? Is just live out in the swamp? You're now the swamp man for the rest of your life? Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, I'm just gonna, go back to nature.
And then so to me, that's completely unrealistic. He is not out there. Nah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So then I read some stories where Gabby's friends say that he was boasting about living out in the Appalachian Trail. I almost couldn't say that word.
Right. Oh, okay.
On the Appalachian Trail. And there's lots of people that hike out there, and it's a big old long trail, and there's different stories that he lived out there for a couple months on his own. Okay. And then there was another one where he lived out in the woods on a bag of crackers for whatever. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
Okay. So for me, when I hear these stories, I hear a fabrication of not full truth. Did he go to the Appalachian Trail? Probably. But he had everything he needed. He was fully stocked. And there's places on the Appalachian Trail that you can go and get supplies and stuff, right? People just often don't just live out there by themselves. On the trail, they stop at places and get resupply and everything. He left his wallet and he left his phone. Okay, so you have zero ID unless you have a passport, but they didn't say anything about that, so I don't know.
Yeah, true, yeah.
And so is he out on the Appalachian Trail? I give it a 30% chance.
Yeah,
30% chance.
Yeah.
More likely to me, he's gone to Canada.
Yeah.
That they either put him on a plane, train, boat, car, taxi, I don't know, or put him somewhere where he met up with somebody and they got him out of the country. And he's probably in Canada. And the reason Canada, not Mexico, is because one, he's white, he stands out. And two, as far as the reports, is he doesn't know Spanish.
Right. Oh,
Three, you don't have an ID, you don't have a passport, and heaven forbid if you are down there, because the cartel, I guarantee, is going to pick you up and they're going to turn you in for the reward money.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed.
100%.
So he's not down in Mexico either. Now, did they put him on a boat and send him over to like the Bahamas or something? Maybe, but unless he has a passport, he doesn't have a wallet, doesn't have ID, doesn't have any of that stuff that's going to be required. At least in Canada, you can kind of make do, right?
Yeah.
Where there's really not... So I give Canada probably a 50% chance, and I give Appalachian Trail a 30% chance. And then I give the rest of the chance that he's hiding out somewhere, that his parents have him hidden somewhere and they're just hiding him. But all of these cases, the only one that makes any real long-term sense is that you went to Canada. And you just hope to God that they take you in as an asylum seeker because you're probably facing the death penalty. Yeah. And so maybe Canada will hold you and say, well, nope, we won't send him back unless you take the death penalty off the table. Maybe. And so here's the thing about the Appalachian Trail and out in the wilderness and stuff. If you're going out camping, that's one thing, right? because there's always the thing is, if something happens, you can always return. But I will tell you, as a survivalist, is it only takes a hangnail. It only takes a hangnail to make your trip bad. Because once you're out there with no medical care, no antiseptics, one small injury, and you're done for. One small injury and you're done for. And even if you do have the skills to survive out there, people struggle with being alone.
Yeah.
That is one of the mentally breaks you down very easily if you are unprepared or don't know how to cope. So a small injury and he's done for. It'll get infected and you're done. Or just heaven forbid you get the flu and you're out there and you can't get enough water or fluids to get through that because you're having to purify something and now you're sick. So now you're not at 100%. So how are you getting food to restore that calorie intake? Because that's the other thing that you're going to need is you're always going to need that calorie intake. And surviving off the land or that requires some type of hunting skills or foraging skills. And that's where you can also run into trouble is during the summer, sure, fine. But when the season change and everything changes, you got more problems.
Yeah.
And being out in the swamp where they think he might be, okay, wait till it starts raining. Wait till it starts getting cold. Good luck with that, because it's gonna be some miserable times out there. And
swamp doesn't sound like the easiest of places to live out in. It's not a
it's hard to
not a
stay
simple
dry.
place.
It's hard to stay dry. It's hard to stay unnoticed because that's the other part of this, right? Is he's hiding, so it's not like you can just start a fire.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, yes, there are ways to conceal a fire, but it's not easy. And if it's wet and miserable, it's really not easy.
Yeah.
So he's not out in the swamp. That's just not. We'll just not at all. Is he on the Appalachian Trail? Possibly out there. But like, and here's the thing is, if there's lots of people out there and people trade and do things, and you could live out there a long time, but it's always the same thing is you take an injury and that changes the game. And that changes the game. And the problem with the Appalachian Trail is there are people out there all the time. And so that's the thing is he's going to have to stay off the trail, stay hidden, because this is the very public case and people are going to know who he is. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Now, here's the other part of this is there's a lot of that was the wrong one, but there's a lot of stuff out there about, oh, I saw him here, I saw him there, anything, right?
Yeah.
So we're just going to go down the timeline real quick, and then I want to talk about these sightings. So June 2021, they took off. August 12th, they were in Moab, Utah, and you've seen the body cam footage. He doesn't strike me as this super confident person like people are kind of portraying him as. And so this causes the problem is you're expecting this guy to go out and be on the run and live on his own. When the cops were talking to him, he was like really flighty and nervous. He wasn't a confrontational stand up for himself type of guy. This is not the psyche of somebody that has the ability to stay on the run for a long period of time, to me. So then the last week of August was the last time they were in contact with Gabby. On the 24th, she FaceTimes with mom. The 25th, there's some texts. And then on the 27th, there's text that mom doesn't think it was her. The 30th, The family receives a last text that they definitely don't think is her, saying no service in Yosemite. And then on the 29th in Wyoming, there was a blogger, a travel blogger. I forgot what her name is, but she reviewed her video and saw the van there in Wyoming.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's how they really narrowed the time frame of where she was by everybody helping in these sightings. So from the 29th, she was seen. Well, the 29th, the shoes were seen. The door closes. They think it was Gabby still alive on the 29th in the van. And they know the van was there. On the 1st, the van returns to Florida without Gabby. So from the 29th being on video to the 1st, which basically means he just drove straight home from Wyoming to Florida, almost damn near nonstop.
Yeah, it must have been going some to cover that distance in that short amount of time. I'm assuming that's quite far away from each other.
Yeah, you're talking about almost the top of the United States to the far right corner of the United States.
Yeah, he must have been booking it for sure.
So definitely a long drive. So on the 11th, they report her missing. The 16th, the family attorney holds a news briefing. Basically, Brian's nowhere to be found at this point.
Yeah, he's suddenly disappeared.
On the 20th, his parents are questioned. And then the 21st, they found the body that they knew was her. They just needed to confirm it. On the 23rd, they start searching the house and the reserve. And then they issued a federal arrest warrant. Now, here's the thing, is this arrest warrant isn't for the murder. This arrest warrant is for him using, I believe, what I'm guessing is Gabby's debit card or bank card.
Oh, okay.
They don't say whose card it was. Okay, so Laundrie is suspected of using a debit card and PIN for accounts that don't belong to him for charges of more than $1,000 between August 30th and the 1st.
Which fits into the timeline.
Right, so either A, it was Gabby's, or B, he stole it on the way home and used it to get gas and stuff on his way home.
Yeah.
Or supplies, because he knew he was going to run, maybe. I don't know. So this is the guy that everybody's looking for, Brian Laundrie. Now, there's been sightings everywhere. The thing about that is this guy is not difficult to identify.
Yeah.
So the problem I have is all these people have the U of O videos, right? The oh look, it's a UFO and can't you see it, right? It's like blurry and shaky and it's like the word, you're like, dude, how is your super iPhone camera can't get a photo, right? It's like
yeah.
So here's my problem: is this guy is not hard to identify. So we're gonna help you identify Brian Laundrie to get rid of these false leads that the FBI has to chase down, and now Dog the Bounty Hunter is after this guy. So apparently he must be broke and he needs some more money or whatever. But so we're gonna help you identify this. So he's 23 years old and he's 5'8", 160 pounds. So he's a small guy. He's a small, thin guy. And then he's got brown eyes, brown hair. He can grow a full beard. And he can grow hair on top, although it does look like he's probably thinning a little bit, but he could be growing hair on top. So So on the run, he's probably is growing a full beard to hide some of his face. Probably wearing a mask. And so there's still telling signs to help you identify this guy and to quit these false leads. And before we get into that, though, I don't understand what happens if a fight breaks out in a store or on the street. What happens?
I don't know.
Everybody breaks out their phone, right?
Oh God, yeah, of course. Sorry, yeah, my brain, yeah.
And they're like right in the mix. They're like right in the mix, right? So why is it every time there's a Brian Laundrie's, sighting, it's like, let me covertly try to take a picture. Dude, walk right up, stick it right in his face, and click the picture, and be I'm gonna send this to the FBI because you look like that guy.
Yeah.
Like, because here's the thing: is that nobody has said that he's armed, right? Nobody has said that he's got anything other than just defending himself regularly. So don't be afraid to take a picture of this guy. And so, like, stop with these crazy UFO photos of Brian Laundrie. That's ridiculous. But here's
just take a video and just zoom in or get close, or try and like maybe not get like right up in his grill, but at least try something, not the shaky like taking a picture from 10 miles back, because that's just not going to help.
All right, so even if he's got a mask, even if he's got a beard, everything else, he has a scar on his left eyebrow that like cuts across his eyebrow, right? So that's one identifying mark, and the other one is this one right here. On his right hand, he has this tattoo and another piece of it down here. So if this guy isn't wearing gloves that you see that you think is Brian Laundrie, look at his hand. Look at his right hand. And if he has a tattoo, it's him. If he doesn't have a tattoo, it ain't him. Report the sighting anyway, but it ain't him. So he's got a chipped tooth, a slightly chipped tooth. He has a scar on his eyebrow, and he has a hand tattoo. That's how you identify Brian Laundrie.
Yeah.
without it being a question. Is it him? Yes or no? And this is and nowadays I don't understand why people are scared. They're never scared about anything else. All of a sudden they're scared about trying to identify this guy, which I don't get. That's like
it's pretty strange.
I don't know. Yeah, just walk right up and say, "Hey, I'm taking this picture because you look like Brian Laundrie. Show me your hands. Let me take a picture of your hands." I don't know. That's kind of all I got. I think it's with that description, it shouldn't be hard if you actually see this guy to report him. But
not just see a guy that is bald with a bit of a beard and a bit skinny. Go, oh look at him. Like try and take a moment to really think, is this him? Know the person. If you're actually looking to try and help, know some identifying characteristics like the scar and the tattoo are going to help you discern whether it's really him or not, and then you don't have to feel like put out more misinformation that's going to then thus make it harder to find him, because they have to follow these leads to make sure that to see the credibility of it. So
right, they have to check him out, and every time somebody reports a missed sighting, it just takes more resources to go check everything out. But now that you have Dog the Bounty Hunter on the case.
Oh yeah, it's over now.
Yeah, whatever.
He's on it. It's all over. See, he needed a bit of money. Jumped in on the old bandwagon for everything.
Yeah, it was funny. He talked about. I saw an interview with him, and he went and banged down their door and like, oh, they know it's me, and I thought he would see me and just break and tell me everything. It's like, wow, are you really that delusional that anybody gives a shit about you, dude? It's like,
I would have opened the door and like, what are you doing here?
So what did they do? They called the cops on him. They were like, hey, get this fucking psycho off my property. But with everybody looking after this guy, they're gonna find him but I think my honest opinion, I think he's in Canada. I really do.
It's a real high possibility for sure that he's made it that far. Especially by now, it's been quite a while since he has disappeared. So, and he doesn't. It wouldn't strike me that he would just hunker down somewhere on a trail. He made that drive, that really long drive, in such a short amount of time, and then he's disappeared almost instantly. So I think the only thing on his mind is to just go and run as far as possible. So I think you may be right on the money there, that he's gone for the border and just tried to go as far as he can get. So
yeah, because the long-term aspects of you being on the run, that's a whole nother thing. And and unless his parents are giving him money, which means they're going to prison, he's got no way to buy additional supplies and do any of that other kind of stuff.
I still think the parents should get in a little bit of trouble for throwing their bit of misinformation at the beginning.
So a lot of this stuff's going to come out later. Like, once they catch him and he goes to trial, and they call the parents and they have to testify under oath about what they did to help him, when they knew what, a lot of this stuff will come out then. And then there'll be some other stuff that happens. What? But all right, well, this is Gabby Petto update. Hope you found some of that at least helpful, but definitely look at the tattoo pictures again, and just because that's the easiest way to identify him. Look down at his hand. You're not gonna be, unless he's wearing gloves, you're not gonna be able to hide that. If you see some guy that looks like him walking around with gloves on during the day, or one glove on, that might be him.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is, like, just try and be respectful of everything that's going on. Like, just try and think a little bit before, if you feel like you might have seen him, don't just throw it out there without getting a little bit more proof to know that you might be on the right track with something. Don't just throw it like you see some guy, as I say, just because you spot somebody that's bald with a bit of a beard and you snap a picture, like, don't just immediately think that's him. Like, just try and be a bit respectful for everything, because like, I can't imagine what Gabby's family are going through, but the last thing they need is just constant misinformation going left, right, and center. So just be, try and be a bit respectful for everything. So, but yeah.
Alrighty.
Crazy times.
With that, we're going to get out of here. Much love all. We will catch you next time.
Peace out.